What's going on, guys? Welcome to
Hey, hey,
another
hey.
episode of Grimey Pod. I'm Romeo, the real deal Montiel.
I'm Tyler. I have the opportunity to get that right this time because
Right,
Ronnie and I aren't fighting over those first. Not that we ever fight.
exactly.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Um, Ronnie couldn't be with us today. Our condolences. But we're gonna continue. And I understand why she wouldn't want to be here because of these three movies we're about to talk about. Which are The Visit, The Last Airbender, and the Will Smith classic After Earth. I guess the Smith classic After Earth is. Well, we'll get into
Oh
that.
boy.
But yeah, no, let's get into it. I feel like this is definitely the down period of Shyamalan. Uh,
These are the
yeah.
dark ages.
So let's start off with The Last Airbender, which is made after a cartoon that's very known,
Yes.
Avatar.
This cartoon, actually, I own it, but I've never
Nice.
seen it.
I've never seen it either. I know that they're bringing the series back on Netflix, which I'm pretty excited for and interested. Like I said, I know nothing about Avatar. All I know is that it's a great cartoon, and a lot of people always tell me check it out, and I just haven't had the time to. But um, seeing little things in here and there, I kind of my interest does get up a bit.
I hear that it's great,
Yeah,
and
Ronnie's a big Avatar fan. She even she praises it a lot.
yeah,
But
definitely.
as for this movie goes, that's complete opposite.
I have a feeling she would not be praising this movie.
No, definitely not. So watching this movie, I will say, I like the intro that they kind of pay homage to, like because I've seen the intro of Avatar and it's pretty cool. Like they have the airbenders, the waterbenders. And they do like the
Yeah,
little
it was super
intro. That
weird
stuff's
because
cool.
because the intro in I do know this. The intro in the show is like that montage with the narration over it. But
Yeah,
in the movie, for whatever reason, it's just a montage with nothing, and then there's
yeah, and it
text
just
on the
goes.
screen, and then
Yeah,
she just reads it off, and I'm like, oh shit, this this is how we're starting it.
pretty much. I mean, you can't get more Shyamalan than text on the screen because that's pretty much its go-to for some
Yeah,
reason.
I don't know what this guy's problem is. He either wastes our time with opening credits, or he wastes our time with needless text. Uh, I'm not watching a movie to read, you know?
I already know from the bat, like they mispronounce one of the main characters from the show
Yeah,
too,
that
which
was
I
super weird.
You done messed up, Aaron!
yeah I don't know
Even
how I
I
don't
know
know
that.
yeah exactly, and I don't know why or what made them okay to do this.
It's
um
one thing if you accidentally do it once, somehow the editors miss it, they put that take in the movie. That's one thing. Like it's just
yeah,
a
but
line flub.
that's
But
a hard
they intentionally they mispronounced the main character. Well, I think he's the main character. I honestly, from watching this movie,
he didn't
there
seem
is
like
no
it.
main character that
Yeah,
stands
no,
out.
there isn't.
It's not an ensemble movie either. Like I forgot most of the people in this, even though like I know it's Aang, it's Katara, it's I think Suko is the brother's
Zuko,
name.
yeah.
Um, what's the
So
Dev
so
Patel?
so
What's the Fire Prince? Isn't he
Zuko,
Zuko?
yeah, and then
Oh,
the
Sokka.
Sokka,
Sokka's
yeah,
the brother.
or Sokka, but they I don't know.
Sokka. I don't. Well, who knows if this movie even pronounced it right?
Exactly,
How do
and
you? They also mispronounced the word avatar. Did you notice that?
no,
They kept
yeah,
saying like avatar. It was
it's
really weird. Like I didn't understand that.
I didn't understand it either. I still I don't know. I feel like if you do a movie like that where you have a literal generation behind this movie, you have to be very precise with stuff like that. Because that'll make or break the movie. I know a lot of people when they talk about the movie that are big Avatar friends that just that part itself by mispronouncing that name just they stop watching the movie because it's a slap in the face and I don't know I can't I can understand why something like that would hurt so bad and that why that movie just didn't do well.
Yeah, I mean, like, imagine watching the 2019 Aladdin and they
Yeah,
pronounce Jasmine Yasmin.
Yasmin. Yeah,
Yeah, like the whole
exactly.
time. It was so weird because I felt like each scene just got cut off very abruptly, but that also helped keep the pace up a little bit. Like it felt like
Yeah.
the movie was going much faster than it was because it's a pretty boring movie. Like there's
Oh, it
not that
is.
much that happens, but
Oh, it's-
because it's so choppy in its editing, it kind of forced me to pay attention to it a little bit more in some strange way. Did you feel that?
a little bit. Yeah, you could definitely feel that. It was like 10 episodes in one movie. Like something would happen,
Isn't it
bam, it
like
would
20 episodes in a season though?
something like that. But it
Yeah,
felt
it felt
like,
very like dense.
yeah, exactly,
But then
It
also none of the information that we learned felt
was relevant.
yeah, like and none of it felt not even so much that, but like every single scene in this movie, very, very similar to Lady in the Water, is just more exposition.
Yeah, of course.
Where and nothing really happens, like
It-
except for those small little action scenes. But
It
even
felt like
those are
they had to like really funnel in all this information because they're trying to cover all this in an hour 40 or however
yeah,
long the
and
movie
then
is. But
there's that scene where I think it was like Zuko was having tea in a
mhm.
market or something, and he calls a little kid over. It's like, hey, little boy, come over here. Can you deliver this exposition for me really quick?
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
thanks. See ya.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
that was the whole scene.
It's also hard to do a movie where it's based on a cartoon too, though. Like I know that like Dragon Ball, for instance, that was a horrible
I've
trash too.
heard that that's pretty atrocious.
Yeah, and it's same with like Street Fighter. I guess like just any type of those animated movies that you bring to life. It's definitely hard. Like Detective Pikachu is another one.
That
It's
was pretty
hard.
brutal.
It's hard to make those things live action and have a story and make you follow without it being cheesy or silly. Especially if it's your first time ever hearing of these things and you're trying to get interested and invested in these things. You have no idea what it's about.
It's super interesting. Like this is Shyamalan's first adaptation.
That's true.
Kind of something that you mentioned last time, or maybe the time before, about like Shyamalan's sense of timing being completely off.
Oh yeah.
I felt that big time in this. Like whether it was comedic timing, dramatic timing, pacing with the action scenes felt very slow. Like this movie showed that more than any of the stuff that has come before.
Definitely.
It was pretty
bad.
prominent, ridiculous. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it was bad.
Yeah, I feel like because it's different. It's a different target audience, as usual. I mean, you go from a rated R movie to just a straight kids movie right away off the bat. It's definitely different pacing, definitely different attention span for people to get to. Which I'm not saying The Happening wasn't the best either, but
how could you? That movie's a gem.
But
that movie is honestly a gem compared to these three.
But yeah, it's definitely. I know it's a challenge to have a kid watch anything more than an hour is pretty hard in itself. But
yeah, and I don't know what it is. How this movie is simultaneously boring and almost a breakneck pace.
Yeah,
like it's two very contradicting like tempos, and I don't understand how
that's possible.
Yeah, I like every single scene I was watching, I was kind of bored, and then it just ended.
Pretty much.
Like what felt like halfway through, and I'm like, oh, all right, well, I guess it's not that boring because you just cut it off.
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah. Well, it's what a weird movie.
It is a weird movie, and it's. I don't know. I know a lot of people hate Shyamalan strictly because of this movie, and yeah.
I'm not gonna blame you.
I don't know. I still think Lady in the Water was worse than this. Personally, I think.
I disagree, but I understand.
Yeah, I feel like with this,
I can see that.
This was still a little more entertaining.
I think Lady in the Water is too damn funny to be. I think that movie's way too funny to be worse than this.
I'm gonna give this movie I'm gonna give it a 3. strictly because I do like the costuming. I did like some of the scenery is nice. And the choreography is a little cool. I can't knock that down. It was pretty cool. Just the only thing I didn't like, obviously, was it not portraying the show right, by saying little things like not pronouncing names right. And
You would think that's so simple.
and I feel like if M Night didn't take that seriously, then that's just a really hard low blow. And that's why I'm gonna give this a 3. What about you?
I'm gonna give it a 4. I don't like it. It's not good by any means, but it was really impactless. Wouldn't really recommend it to people. It's not the worst thing ever, but it didn't do anything right necessarily.
It was just there.
Yeah, it happened. I watched it, and now it's over.
All right, let's move on to our next movie, the Smith family classic. We're gonna be discussing After Earth, which, I mean, if you can't get any more Philadelphia than this, then, I mean, if you had a little Sylvester Stallone, you had a Philly cheesesteak, maybe even a Liberty Bell, then I mean, you can't get any more Philadelphia than that. But we're dealt with Shyamalan, Jaden Smith, and Will Smith, which is
do you think they crash landed in Philadelphia?
Probably. I don't even know where to start with this movie. I guess the first thing I'll start off was with
I got notes on notes on notes. You go ahead, but
all right, I will say that Jaden Smith cannot act for his life.
Unbelievable.
welcome to Earth.
I don't know what's up with this accent. Like,
Yeah,
was that?
so it's like, okay, so apparently what they did for this movie was, so background on this movie is that this isn't a Shyamalan movie necessarily. This is a Will Smith movie.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who came up with the idea for it, and he's the one who said, I want a movie for my son that'll like kind of solidify him as a movie star, because that's what he markets his family as, kind of, as this perfect celebrity family. And so he does that, gets Shyamalan in on it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And along the way, they hire a linguist. And the linguist their job was to be like, okay, what would language sound like in 1,000 years? And apparently it sounds like a mix between British, Southern, and completely fucking random. Yeah, so they hire a linguist, and I gotta say, what a waste of money. Because if all you're gonna do, like, if you hire somebody to like come up with a language, or at least like a specific accent,
Dialect, yeah.
People,
yeah.
You know, like, you need to have specific ways that you're supposed to pronounce certain sounds. Otherwise, nobody's going to be on the same page, and you're going to have exactly what happens in this movie, where everybody sounds like they have a speech impediment.
What? English, motherfucker! Do you speak it? Yes!
Yeah.
Like, they all, like, so the first thing that I wrote down, and this was like at the opening of the movie, like when Jaden Smith is passed out for one of the 10 times that he's passed out in this movie, and he starts doing that voiceover thing.
Oh, I hated that.
Jaden Smith sounds like one of the guys from South Park doing a Jaden Smith impersonation. Like, that's what he sounds like for this whole movie.
Stan, you're a lousy kid. I wish Jaden Smith was my son. Jaden Smith lets his parents do whatever they want. You know what? The guys at work, they took a bet on who would win in a fight, you or Jaden Smith, and they all said Jaden Smith could kick your ass.
I don't know. Again, it's another one of those two direct movies where it's like they talk to you about the movie rather than showing you, which I hate when they do that, because they could have made Will Smith's character way better if they didn't say it, that he was like the best warrior or whatever, ghost. I don't know what the hell thing he is.
He's like, oh, by the way, Cypher Rage. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
That's the name?
Exactly. That's the name they picked.
Cool. Why not? Why not?
It's the future, Tyler. Come on.
Yeah,
what do we know? What do we know about the future? What do we know about the future, right?
I wish, after watching this movie, I wish the future just would never happen. Like, if that's even a remote possibility, that
Just get a time machine.
I hate this movie.
But
I hate this
no,
movie
I
so
hate
much.
it too. I don't know. I tried getting into it. I'm not a big fan of Will Smith. I feel like he overdoes it for everything.
No! 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 No!
There's some movies where it works, some movies where it doesn't, and there's another one of those where it doesn't. I hate how monotone both of these characters are in the sense of Jaden and Will Smith. Like, it's like no emotion. I get it. They're fighting for their lives. It's the military per se. They're not supposed to show emotion, but it's like, dude, how am I supposed to be engaged to these characters? I don't know what the hell you're feeling. Like, and they just say words that are like trying to get you to feel. Like, for instance, when like Will Smith's character is talking to Jaden, he's like calling him son at some points, and he's calling him cadet at other points. And I can try to see that they're trying to have you feel the emotion of how this character is supposed to feel towards his son, I guess. But again, I need to see that emotion. By just saying it to me, I ain't gonna feel shit. And that's literally
Yeah,
how
exactly.
I felt the
And
whole movie.
another thing, it's like, okay, so he's supposed to not feel fear, which apparently I feel like that would be much more useful if that was almost an on-off switch. Like, you
Yeah.
can just choose not to feel fear rather than constantly not feeling fear. But that's okay. Let's assume you always don't feel fear. Does that mean you don't feel anything?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
that's totally what this is. He's just an emotionless plank of wood who's just spitting out dialogue, and he looks so bored the whole movie. The only time he doesn't look bored is when he like yells at the dinner table at the very beginning.
Pretty much.
Denied. But
denied.
It's but like, how do you take, you were saying Will Smith tends to go very over the top for stuff. It's the exact opposite for this, where it's like you have this person who, like, I don't fully agree with you on that. Like, I do tend to enjoy Will Smith if he's in something. I think that if nothing else, he's very charismatic. So you have this guy who's very charismatic.
That's fair.
Doing nothing in this movie. He's
Pretty
just
much
there, bored to tears. And then you have his son, who has not an ounce of charisma in him. And he's the one who's supposed to be the emotional character in this movie. Like, he's the one who's supposed to be, like, going through all these, I don't even know. But every single level, like, if we can go on and on about every point about this movie, and it's all awful. Like, I don't think there's a single redeeming factor in this movie. Like, you can watch it as a comedy. I'll give it that.
You can't even watch it as a comedy.
I think it's too boring for that.
It is. And there's like no...
But like, there's enough failed dramatic moments to where it is legitimately funny sometimes. Like when Jaden Smith is like on the cliff.
Oh, and he says, I am not a coward. You're a coward. I'm like,
yeah. And then he just like randomly looks at the camera. He's like, I'm not a coward. And then he just jumps out. Like, that's funny. And like when the giant bird eagle thing randomly saves his life, like that's kind of funny. Because you're just
thinking
like,
about it now,
what are you doing?
Thinking about it now, yes, but
also,
it doesn't fit.
When he has to give himself the adrenaline shot, and he's like,
oh
I can't feel my hands. And then he just face plants on it.
But I also heard that M Night didn't really. He wrote a little bit of this. He didn't write the whole thing, from what I've heard. Is that true?
I know that Will Smith has the story credit, and so like he's the one who came up with the premise of the movie. I'm not really sure how that works, but I would assume that he's the one who came up with the significant beats. And then M Night Shyamalan and one other writer were a part of making it into a script, and then Shyamalan directed it. It sounds like this could have been a better movie. I legitimately think it could have been. Because I watched a Comic-Con panel where the other writer, I'm totally forgetting his name right now, was talking about like just the way that they were going to introduce the information in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like the original plan, instead of it being just like a news montage with voiceover, was actually going to be like, it was going to be Jaden Smith like taking the Ranger test. And like while he's taking the test, like not only do we learn information about, the society or whatever, but we also learn how smart Jaden Smith is, which no, he's not. by the way, but whatever. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for this movie.
Does it make it more cheesy that this is a Jaden Smith and Will Smith movie to you? Like, is
Cheesy
that
how?
like for marketing sense? Like,
Dude, speaking of marketing, do you know how much they spent $100 million marketing this thing?
really? That's crazy.
Anyway, I'm sorry. What
No,
about
I
that
just
cheesiness?
the fact that these two are in the movie together, does that make it like less appealing to you? Is it because of Jaden Smith's acting?
It's
and you
not
see
so much that it's less
to...
appealing. It just feels more hollow.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's like they're like the way that they went about marketing it was like, oh yeah, it's it's Will Smith's like, yeah, it's me and my son, we're in a movie together,
Yeah, but Pursuit of Happiness was great. Like Pursuit of Happiness
that's not the marketing of that movie. The marketing of that movie is, hey, this is a story about a guy who, against all odds, gets. Honestly, I haven't seen that movie. I've heard it's terrific, but I haven't seen it.
That's my favorite. That's probably the best Will Smith movie in my opinion. But yeah.
No, it's been on my watch list for a while. I just haven't gotten around to it. But that movie probably marketed itself based on the movie that it was. This movie marketed itself like, hey, I'm Will Smith. Here's my son. We made a movie. Go watch it.
And I feel like that's I don't know. Yeah, I feel like if you do that,
I think it's because they realized, okay, the movie that we made kind of sucks. We got to get people to see it somehow. I
guess.
And even then, like, this movie still was a pretty big loss. This was one of the first like Will Smith box office blunders. Because if you look at his box office history, like his movies make like at least 150 million.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of money. Like that's the lowest number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, and I know like recently with Bad Boys 3 did really well. That's probably the movie
Bad Boys
right
3
now.
is the highest grossing movie of 2020.
Yeah, I know.
Still, like even that has like 500 million, and that's not nothing,
Mm-hmm.
But Will Smith, I liked him in that movie.
Yeah, like I don't know.
At least he had charisma. Like if he has charisma, I enjoy him.
But that's the thing. It's like I don't know. In sense of charisma, I only see him as being the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like I can't see him. He does.
I haven't seen that, so I don't have that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. I've seen bits, but I haven't.
No, yeah, I just
that was before my time.
It's all good. I feel like in every movie he just has that type of that charisma, like you mentioned. But when he tries to do a serious movie, it's a hit or miss really hard.
Mm-hmm.
At least in Pursuit of Happiness, I can kind of see that because it's his first time doing something with his son. So to have his son as an accessory, you can feel that emotion way more. But with this, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, this in every sense, this movie dropped the ball. I really think that.
Oh no, definitely.
It feels like we're kind of wrapping up on it. I'll give it a 1 out of 10. I could keep going.
Yeah, I could keep going.
This movie sucks. 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10. I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 10.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. Ones are really hard for me to give. But 2 out of 10 for this. I don't plan on seeing this again ever or recommending it really.
I would recommend it to people that I don't like. And I would hype this up.
Let's continue. All right, so next movie we're going to be talking about is The Visit.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. I don't really want to stare at that the whole time. That's kind of gross.
That's kind of creepy.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. But anyways, so with The Visit, he definitely goes – M Night Shyamalan definitely goes back to his eeriness more with this rather than the last two which were kind of just like – I don't know. It wasn't his style whatsoever. This one, it's kind of cool. It's also a found footage movie, which I was going to ask, do you like found footage type movies?
I have not seen a found footage movie that I enjoy. I hear Blair Witch is great, and I hear that Wreck is supposed to be fantastic, and that's supposed to be a really good use of the found footage genre, like style, as purposeful. Whereas this movie did it to be lazy. It feels like there's nothing creative done with the found footage in this movie. There was no understanding of what makes found footage work. They're recording with these super high quality cameras, which takes away any sort of question as to what we're seeing. They constantly try to make it seem like the kids are the ones operating the cameras, but everything's handled way too smoothly. All the shots are set up way too nice. Like there's a whole lot of technical elements. Like,
I can see that.
They spent money to make this work worse.
I could see that.
Like
It's
totally a detriment to the movie. It's one of the biggest problems that I have with it.
The reason why I kind of like that found footage is because you kind of get that perspective from the kids that are trying to. Because as a kid, I remembered like doing stuff like that, like filming. I mean, I still do it now. Just filming and documenting stuff. And I can kind of relate to that. I do understand what you're saying though, where it's like too professional. Like you need that type of like realism where it's like you can't have a kid shoot something so like beautiful. Like I get what you're saying.
Imagine like you say like, and I did the same thing where I would just shoot stuff as a kid. If you had access to the cameras that these kids have, which first of all, bullshit. Second of all, if you had access to those types of fancy cameras, would you have been able to operate it as pitch perfect? Exactly.
No.
And also, dude, another thing that actually really pissed me off I don't even know why this upset me as much as it did. The Skype calls with the mom.
Oh, that pissed me off. Yeah.
That was like,
because she even mentions,
what the fuck are they using for their internet connection?
Yeah,
like, you can Skype with your mom over the internet,
but you can't
use your phone.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Like, why does this cruise ship have 4K internet capabilities? So this movie, especially through Tyler, had a lot of attempts at intentional humor. And so that's why I wanted to save this for this movie. With Lady in the Water, with The Happening, to a certain extent, The Last Airbender and After Earth, you can watch those movies as comedies, because when you fail at a dramatic moment, when you fail at being scary, it's funny. Like it's kind of funny to watch someone blunder like that. But when you fail at being funny, you are miserable as an audience member, because not only is it not funny, but I can't laugh at it for being not funny, because that was the intended purpose.
Yeah, there was some stuff that hit. I don't know. There's some stuff that I thought was kind of funny. Like I like the train scene. I don't know, that stuff was pretty cool with like the conductor, because that's like, I mean, it's not real. Don't get me wrong. Like that will never happen per se, but it's like it's cute. I don't know. I think some of it's kind of cute. Like I like how he's trying to be a rap, because that's how kids are nowadays. It's like, you have a kid that just documents everything, and you have a kid that wants to be a YouTube star, like this rapper, and it just kind of doesn't fit, because it's supposed to be this eeriness, but I can see that relatable, because I have a little brother, and he he watches rap videos all the time. He tries to be like this this persona that is just cute, and I can kind of see that and kind of relate to it. That's why I thought it was kind of funny.
But this kid's definitely like, what would you say, like maybe 12?
Yeah.
When you like the thing is,
like
there's a certain age that you reach where it's like, okay, it's not funny anymore. You're not cute. You're just being annoying. I think this kid's more annoying than he is funny, but I can understand where that like could be the relief for, like, I get where some people find it funny. It really doesn't work for me.
I didn't like the fact that they didn't never seen their grandparents. I felt like that was a little too
Parent of the Year award goes to Catherine Hahn.
This is really this is so amazing.
But you continue to watch.
If one little thing changes about this movie, the rest of it falls apart.
That's true.
Like that's part of what bothers me, is like, if you add just, if they asked the right question just once, and not even like, you don't even have to be smart to think of this stuff. Like, how about saying, hey, can I see a picture of my grandparents before I get on the train to go and meet them for the very first time?
No one questions
Without you,
it.
Mom?
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a lot of. I get what you're saying. There's a bunch of plot
There's
holes.
so many
there.
holes.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
There's
And,
so many holes. This movie's like watching Swiss cheese.
Would you say this is a step
goddamn.
up then? Would you still say it's a step up from After Earth or no?
The only reason that I think that this feels more like a sidestep. I really don't like this. I think that this is a better movie than After Earth, but I don't know if I can really call this a step up and feel good about it, because I think that this isn't the return to form that everybody kept insisting that it was.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that. Let's talk about the reveal. What did you like it? I didn't like it.
It was a surprise. The first time I saw this movie, it was a surprise. And the first time I saw this movie, I was an idiot. That's why it surprised me. Because watching through this movie again, there's every hint that these people are not who they say they are. So it's like, oh yeah, they're not the grandparents. No shit. These kids should have figured that out on the second day here at the latest. And then like nothing really comes from it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like nothing comes from it other than, oh, well, I guess we're leaving one night early. It's like we're leaving 12 hours earlier than we would have anyway.
Or yeah.
Like it doesn't make any sense. Another thing that really bothered me about this movie, how did you feel about the jump scares? Those were another thing where I'm just like, oh, you're pissing me off.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely not Shyamalan's style. I know that for a fact because he doesn't do jump scares, which
I kind of disagree a little bit. He did some stuff like that in The Village. Because the thing that he would do with the jump scares is he would add in a bunch of really obnoxious, unnatural sounds to make them say, hey, this is scary. We're going to prove it by startling you. But the point of this movie is to scare you. And if that's how you quote unquote scare me,
scare somebody,
then you failed.
It's a cheap way. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I feel like because it's hard. I guess it's not hard because there's some good found footage movies where it's like you see something creepy per se, and it's not a jump scare. Like I don't know if you've ever seen The Fourth Kind. That's another good one.
No, I haven't even heard of that.
That's an alien. It's an alien movie where it's found footage, and it's not jump scares. It's just creepiness of just like people going crazy, which I wish they did in this, but I get what you're saying. Like it's a quick, easy way. There is still though some creepy stuff that I did like. I like the grandma being her kind of like crawling thing. I like the noises. I will agree it was kind of weird, but as far as the jump scares go, I don't know. I think it was around that time where having found footage and throwing a jump scare was like popular, and so
I think it was like writing the end of that way.
Yeah, but I feel like
I haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah, I feel like because it was like that, and Paranormal Activity took that, made that whole thing, brought it back per se. I do like the eeriness though. Like I wanted to know, like when the first time I watched it, I wanted to know what the hell is the deal with these grandparents, like. And it was marketed well. Like the picture, like just the poster is so creepy because you have the old lady in the rocking chair and it says it's very appealing. I think it was marketed really well. I think that was one of the best things about this movie is because I don't know, old people to me are creepy sometimes, and to have it from a kid's perspective, it's done well. I like that. In the sense of the trailers and the marketing, it was really cool, and I think that's why people liked it because of the trailers, and they went into it having that scare. And it's also his first movie back from,
this is the first movie with his name on it in a while, because his name wasn't anywhere on the After Earth marketing.
Yeah,
and nowhere. It was intentionally left off.
I think that's why people liked it because it's kind of bringing the remembrance back of who he was, and so I can see why people enjoyed it. I know, granted, it's not his best work.
Yeah, I would agree with you. This movie did a good job at selling you on the idea of the M Night Shyamalan that you knew is back.
Exactly.
Which I don't agree with, but it was a good marketing strategy.
I guess we can get to our ratings now with it. I'm gonna give this one a I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 10.
Oh, we're going back with the 0.5s.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
I want to give it a 5, but at the same time, I know it doesn't really deserve it. But I do think this was a lot better than Lady in the Water, After Earth, and Avatar, Last Airbender.
And I'm going to be giving this one a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
It's not the worst thing ever. Like I said, performances are there, and there's like 1 or 2 other parts that were okay. But yeah, I think that there's a lot in this. There's a lot of choices that were made that actively work against what this movie is trying to do.
All right. That's gonna complete our discussion on our M Night Shyamalan series for these 3 movies. Next week, we're gonna continue with our discussion. We're bringing it all back to full force, which I think will be a better discussion. We're gonna be talking about Split and Glass. At least we're past the dark period, which we mentioned.
I think that these 3 movies that we just watched are my least favorite of all of the ones that we've seen so far.
Stick with us, Split and Glass, as we're talking about next week. Probably going to talk about Unbreakable as well, which is one we definitely
Last
praise
chapter
a
of
lot.
Shyamalan.
That's
Woo!
right. We got the last part and chapter of Shyamalan next week. And yeah, I guess that's I want to give a shout out to everyone just during this time. I know it's been rough, but we're almost there, guys. We're almost getting through this, and the thing that'll help you out is just watching movies. I know that's definitely what I've done that helped me through this, and I got to give support out to everyone that's working and just giving out their all during this hard time. I know it's
Absolutely.
tough, but everyone here is just everyone. We support you guys a lot, and yeah, just keep the fight going and be smart. Obviously, guys, just be really smart.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
But yeah, take care, guys. You guys have a good one. And any last words, Tyler?
I mean, you said a lot of good stuff. I'll leave it to you.
All right, man. All right, cool.
See ya.
Peace.
Let's just go, let's just do it. Let's get down, get the people into it. Let's just go, let's just do it. Let's get down, get the people into it.